Good morning and happy Thursday. We are live here from the Commission on Higher Education, Regional Office 1, here at the city of San Fernando, La Union, reaching out to all of you wherever you are in the globe. So it's a happy Thursday. We are looking forward to another day of learning from our experts today. But before we continue, I would like to give some announcements for our viewers who are watching us via YouTube. Please click the subscribe button. That is CHED Regional Office 1. And for those who are using Facebook, please do not allow this hour to pass you by without liking our Facebook page. That is CHED Region 1. So last Tuesday, you were able to have a very fruitful discussion of how to use G Suite technology in pedagogy. Of course, you were able to have the expert ideas shared to us by Miss Eileen De Jesus of Google. And we were able to have 18,000 Facebook views and 3,400 viewers via YouTube during our first session last Tuesday. And during our afternoon session, we were able to have 16,000 Facebook viewers and 6,700 viewers via YouTube when our power couple of Chedro 1, Ma'am Lynette and Sir Elvin, conducted the afternoon session. So for us to formally begin, please let us join our hearts and minds together for a prayer to be led to us by our education supervisor here at Chedro 2, Engineer Angelica Q. Dolores.
Let us all put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Almighty Father, source of all that is good. Almighty Father, source of all that is good, we praise, glorify, and thank you for the gift of life, blessings, and graces we continuously receive from you despite our unworthiness. We gather once again for our webinar series under your inspiration. Send, O Lord, your Holy Spirit upon us, that this webinar be a success for greater glory. As we open our ears and minds to the intellectual sharing of our resource speaker, open our hearts with the fire of your love and help us extend our hands to our brothers and sisters who need our help and assistance, especially those affected by the pandemic. As we prepare our schools to brace the challenges of the new normal, we humbly ask you to make peace, love, unity, and service as our ever new and enduring normal to the way we live, so that others may see you in us and us in you. Thank you for the gift of technology. May we use it to benefit society, serve humanity, uplift our community, and strengthen our families. We ask your forgiveness for abusing this gift to harm or discredit others. For all that was, is, and will be. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Engineer Dolores, for our prayer. Again, just a few recap. Last Tuesday rather, Ms. Eileen of Google taught us the concepts of how to use G Suite, Google Docs, conducting online surveys using Google applications in our HEIs. Today, we are going to hear experts from our HEIs in the region and also our invited guests on how to use technology or how they're using technology in their classes so that we would be able to have an idea of how we can improve our offering of education in our HEIs using this gift of technology. For today, we shall have benchmark, or as a father termed it last time, we shall call it a management visit, but this time it's a virtual management visit. We have invited our expert from Mariano Marcos State University in Batac, Ilocos Norte, to show us how MMSU conducts virtual learning environment in the university. Let me now introduce to you our first sharer this morning. Our first sharer is the Associate Professor from the Department of Computer Science and the Director of Information Technology Center, at the same time the Chief of the Data Protection Office of Mariano Marcos State University in Batac, Ilocos Norte. He is a graduate of Master of Science in Information Technology from St. Louis University in Baguio City. Currently, he is a member of the Board of Trustees of the Philippine E-Learning Society and an officer of the Philippine Society of IT Educators here in Region 1. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, fellow webinars, session attendees, let us welcome with pride and honor Mr. Wilben Christie R. Pagtaconan. Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir. Thank you for the introduction. And good day to our virtual participants. So before I start my presentation, allow me to thank CHED Region 1, headed by Dr. Rogelio Galera Jr., for this opportunity to share the initiatives of the Mariano Marcos State University as regards virtual learning environment. And of course, I would like to thank also my colleagues and from the Mariano Marcos State University, headed by our dear President, Dr. Shirley C. Agrupis. So a pleasant morning to all. In this session, I will be sharing the experience of MMSU in implementing our own, we call it MVLE, the Mariano Marcos State University Virtual Learning Environment. So to start with my presentation, I will be introducing some concepts on flexible learning, and I will be sharing to you the MVLE implementation framework, which we use in MMSU, and some tips of choosing the right VLE, and a demonstration of the MVLE, and sharing you also some of the initiatives of MMSU toward sustaining the MVLE implementation. So to start with, let us have to define what is a flexible learning. So as defined by Lee and McLaughlin, flexible learning is a set of educational approaches and systems concerned with providing learners with increased choice, convenience, and personalization to suit their needs. In particular, flexible learning provides learners with choices about where, when, and how learning occurs by using a range of technologies to support the teaching and learning process. Now, flexible learning is now the teaching and learning approach that HEIs are to implement. So it is very important to note of the method options that we will adopt as regards flexible learning, wherein using MVLE is just one of the tools that can be used in delivering flexible learning. Now, the word flexible is defined as offering choices in the educational environment, as well as customizing a given course to meet the needs of individual learners. Therefore, providing the possibility of making learning choices to learners is crucial, especially now that we are implementing flexible learning. These learning choices can cover, example, class times. So when do you deliver the lesson? Okay, course content. So what are the content of your course material? And then instructional approach. Will you be using synchronous or asynchronous mode of delivering the instruction? And then consider also the learning resources and location. Of course, the use of technology and the requirements on the completion date of your exercises or activities, And at the same time, you have to provide them with communication tool such as chat, messaging, and other forms of communication. Now, what is virtual learning environment? So, virtual learning environment, or we call it VLE, is a system for delivering learning materials to students via the web. And these systems include assessment, student tracking, collaboration, and communication tools. Now, some of us are using the term learning management system. So both LMS and VLE are used interchangeably. With the implementation of the MMSU virtual learning environment, we followed this framework. So we have assessed the MMSU ICT e-readiness in terms of first on the MMSU existing ICT infrastructure. So we were able to assess the infrastructure of the university, and this assessment covers assessment on computers. We have network and the internet, considering also some of the different technologies that are being used in the university, and the software and information systems that are being developed in the university. Other than that, aside from the ICT infrastructure, we also considered our users. So one of these users are the faculty. So we assess the readiness of faculty in terms of their ICT skills being implemented or being used by this faculty as regards basic computer operation, document processing, spreadsheet, presentation skills, video production, and among others. And as regards choosing the correct or the right virtual learning environment for us, so we concentrated more on the use of open source platform, and then we prioritize the different components which are or were incorporated in the virtual learning environment. Now, sharing you is the complete implementation requirement. So this is part of the framework. So we have the user's environment and architecture as main component of the implementation framework. Okay, so as regards users, we have here improved faculty ICT profile, considering the different ICT skills needed for us to have the virtual learning environment. And we have suggested here some of the requirements for the sustainability of ICT infrastructure in terms of first computers, network and internet, display screen technologies and peripherals, and the software and information systems being used in the university. And the architecture, of course, during the evaluation of this open source VLEs, Moodle turned out to be the most appropriate on or based on the need of the Mariano Marcos State University. So during our first implementation of the virtual learning environment, that was way back 2013 to 2015, we used the Moodle 1.7 version. And now we already have upgraded it to Moodle 3.8. So basically, when you are starting with thinking of deploying a virtual learning environment for your school, maybe you can also adopt our framework, which we can also share to other HEIs. Now, how to choose the right virtual learning environment for your school? So we have a lot of available options to use as regards the implementation of virtual learning environment. So on the screen, we have some examples like Blackboard, we have Schoology, Edmodo, Canvas, Moodle, Google Classroom, and we also have Neo LMS by Cypher Learning. Now, if you are thinking of your budget, so basically you go for open source VLEs. Okay? Examples of open source VLEs are Moodle, Chamilo, you also have OpenEdX, Totara Learn, and then Canvas. Okay? Now, how to start with on how to choose your right virtual learning environment. First, what are your needs? So you have to consider your needs. So identify the contents to be uploaded. How will you upload this content? And how many users are there? So the users here will be the number of students and the number of faculty who will use your virtual learning environment. And you have to think of that whenever you will host, okay? Or if you wish to host the system, or will you use an external host? Or if you decide to use free VLE software or the open source, you should keep in mind the cost of hosting this software and the price of the training, because you will train your faculty and students. And wherever you are going to purchase a third-party support tool for it, or you will solve all its problems by yourself. This is in case you have a good technical team, or we call it as the IT team. So those are the considerations as you start choosing your virtual learning environment. Next, second would be evaluate technical considerations and limitations. So with your learners and their needs in mind, next up is evaluating technical considerations and limitations. So consider what type of content you're hoping to exhibit. Like, for example, audio, using podcast, video, interactive activities, PDF documents, PowerPoint presentations, and of course, consider how your users will be accessing it. Are they using their mobile phones? Are they using their laptops or desktop? At the same time, you need to consider the connectivity of these students. Are they using a SIM-based connection or a fiber connection? So with technological fit in mind, review also the support services offered for any VLE that you consider. Third, you have to set feature priorities. There are lots of features in an MVLE or in a virtual learning environment. So considering what are your must-have features, your should have, and then could have, and won't have. So the virtual learning environment market is growing, and technology is changing every day with a myriad of services and features available. It's important to know which ones to prioritize. So some example of features you might want to keep in mind include discussion boards or forum, test or assignment capabilities, can also have enhanced security measures, grading or scoring capabilities to track the progress of your students, data tracking, and automated user functions such as alerts. So when a teacher uploads a lesson, then there should be an alert to students that there has been a file or a posting in their virtual learning environment. So prioritize those which most directly benefit your institution and your users. Again, your users here are the faculty and your students. So determine which features will be most useful in meeting the objective you've set for your learners. and also find out how stable it is when dealing with large numbers of users. Does this system still work properly with this huge number of users? So those are your considerations when it comes to setting the feature priorities. Again, just to recap, consider MSCW your must-have, wherein these are the components of the project that cannot do without them. Okay? And they should have, could have, and won't have. Fourth is plan for sustainability, because some institutions deploy systems, and after deploying it, they do not sustain because they don't have any plan for sustainability. So implementing a new virtual learning environment is a major financial decision also, because you need to invest. For the best strategic choice, consider the scope and the potential future needs. So what about new systems you hope to implement? Is your virtual learning environment interoperable with the other systems? Will the learning management system you're considering now be able to serve your objectives for the next several years? So planning is very important. So another important question to consider is how adaptive your virtual learning environment. Adaptive in the sense that whatever device that will be coming out, because as you know, this technology is, or the evolution of this technology is very frequent. So what kind of maintenance might your institution need to perform, or you will pay for it by outsourcing? That is by keeping the portal or the virtual learning running over the years. So these are all important questions to consider as you're comparing your options. So you also need to look at, when you are planning for deploying the virtual learning environment, first is you need to consider how much budget you have to support your virtual learning environment implementation. So that is very important. So just to recap on the stages or steps on how we approach to choosing the right virtual learning environment. First is consider your needs. And then second, evaluate technical considerations and limitations. Third, set feature priorities. And fourth is plan for sustainability. Now let us move on to the MMSU virtual learning environment. So we call it MVLE as a brand for the Mariano Marcos State University. The small m there stands for Mariano Marcos State University, and VLE stands for virtual learning environment. Now we have MVLE 2.0 as our new system. So MVLE is the online learning platform of MMSU that enables teachers and students to utilize it for their online classes. So teachers can create their own private website filled with dynamic courses that extend learning anytime, anywhere. So the MVLE is hosted within our data center located at the Information Technology Center. So what is good about having its own virtual learning environment is that, of course, we have the brand and we have a common platform for the whole university. And of course, monitoring of activities for both faculty and students would be easier because we only have one platform for monitoring purposes. Now, I will show you the interface of our virtual learning environment. Now, by the way, the MVLE is already incorporated in the students portal of our students. So they only have a single log on when they enter to the students portal, they are able to access also our MVLE. So those are some of our initiatives as regards interoperability of the systems. So this is the interface or the login page for the virtual learning environment. Now, actually, I already prepared here a video capture of the virtual learning environments interface. Okay, so I am now navigating at the dashboard of a teacher in the virtual learning environment. So all the courses of this teacher are displayed in the dashboard. And if you try to look at the component of a course, so we have here the different components as part of the syllabus. So we have the course outline. And then here you can also provide learning resources, learning activities to your students. So real-time monitoring of students' activities are done here. So, okay, so let us try to incorporate or include some activity or resource in a course. So you just add an activity or resource, and then you can see the different activities and resources that are available and that the MVLE is capable of handling. So like for example, we are adding a file as a resource for our students. So a lecture material is uploaded. So it's just very simple. It's just like you are using your Facebook in uploading a file or sharing a file to someone. Okay, so once you're done, you can now save, and your students will now be able to see the lecture which you have just uploaded. So this type of resource is a PDF file. So other file formats can also be integrated or can also be uploaded in the MVLE. So if you wish to add another resource, like for example, a quiz, then you just click on quiz, or can be an assignment for your student. By the way, you can set deadlines for the submission of students in MVLE. So I'm now showing you one type of quiz activity. So you can see the results of the exam of your students. So the total grade, and then you can have per item. So this can be done online. So the quiz can be done online, or if you, our strategy before, since the pandemic was not yet here, we require our students to take the exam in the laboratory for still a supervised type of exam, but they are using the MVLE. So as you can see now, the quiz structure analysis is automatically generated based on the results of the exam. And the statistics for question positions are also graphed or tallied and presented into graph. And then you can also download the data coming from this graph. Now you can also use the virtual learning environment or our MVLE as a class record. So you can log all the scores of your students on a given activity. So even though you conducted the activity offline, you can still incorporate the grades here in MVLE. Now you can also monitor the participants or the students in your class. So as you can see in one column there, the last access to course. So you can see when did they last access this course. This is one way of monitoring them. And then you can also send a message to your students as part of the communication tool provided by MVLE. So all messages will be alerted in the email of students through the messaging facility of the MVLE. So showing you also one-to-one messaging to students. So if students have queries regarding the subject matter or the course, then they will just send you a private message. And within the interface, you can also reply. And the new added feature for the MVLE is the synchronous teaching and learning through a web conferencing. So there is already now a built-in web conferencing tool offered to teachers and students who are enrolled in the virtual learning environment. So we have tested already the virtual or the video conferencing in our MVLE. So we already had some thesis defense where faculty members are not within the school. So on the screen is an example of one of the thesis proposal defense of our students, and the other panel members are in the United States. So this can be used as synchronous teaching and learning tool. But what are our strategies to sustain the use of MVLE? So sharing you some of the initiatives of the university, we have continuous ICT skills enhancement trainings conducted in the university and trainings on the use of MVLE. So last week, we have a one-week session for all our faculty members. So we made sure that 100% of our faculty members are trained with the use of the MVLE. So for those who were not able to attend the face-to-face session last week, we also provided them with online training. So the online training is for those senior citizen and those who have already trained with MVLE but wish to have some refresher on its use. So the last training we had was last May 11 to 15. Other than that, we have improved connectivity within the university. So we have the campus area network installation where the whole Batac campus was connected with fiber. So as you can see in the map, we have a wide campus area for the Batac. So there is a need for us to connect this. So we already implemented this one. And at the same time, we have provided access to free Wi-Fi. So access to free Wi-Fi is open for all students and employees of the university. We have some notes that in terms of the administration, we have the MMSU Information Technology Center who take charge of all this system implementation, system development, system deployment, and the like. So we also have available technical support because today support is very important, especially that we are supporting it online or virtual. So you must have a full-time IT staff that will administer this one. Unless or otherwise, if you are only hiring for a part-time, then basically it would be difficult to monitor its activity and at the same time the management of the virtual learning environment. So showing you now the students portal where we already incorporated the virtual learning environment or the MVLE. So for a single login, students can now easily access the MVLE. So part of the initiatives of the Information Technology Center is to provide IT solutions to all the needs of students. So right now, in the students portal, students are now able to enroll online, view their grades online. So everything is online from admission, basically from admission to graduation. So all of these systems are in-house developed, taken care of under the Information Technology Center. Okay, so I think that ends my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and for listening. For questions, you may reach out us at wrpagtaconan@mmsu.edu.ph or you can email us through our itc-support@mmsu.edu.ph. Again, thank you very much for your time and for listening to my presentation.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Wilben. We have learned so much, and we are in awe of how MMSU prepared not only the academic community but also the stakeholders regarding your use of technology in the university. In fact, Sir Wilben, we have seen some comments which are very positive and commending MMSU for being proactive. You've been using that technology, I believe, I'm right, you said as early as 2013. And
Yes, sir.
it's really nice, no? Kasi we did not expect COVID-19 to happen, yet you were able to look beyond the current situation during that time and prepare for this wonderful technology in MMSU. All right, Sir Wilben, I'll give you a few seconds to breathe because I know it was not talking for a few minutes. I just would like to recognize our viewers, not only here in the region, but also in the entire country. We have our viewers from the Ilocos speaking towns. We'd like to greet them maupay na aga sa tanan. And also our viewers in Visayas, we would like to greet you maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. We're happy that you're joining us live here. And of course, Sir Wilben, we also have our viewers from Zamboanga. So we'd like to greet them buenos dias a todos. And of course, from Region 1, naimbag nga aldaw kada kayo amin kakabsat kang gagayam, masanton kabuasan at si kayon amin. Ako, baka isipin na nagli-lecture na ako sa language dito. All right, Sir Wilben, are you now ready to answer our questions?
Yes.
All right, sir. We have our first question from Noriat Labata. And the question is, aside from the last access by the student, will there be a time stamp or record every time a student opens the course?
Yes, we do have the complete module to monitor the activities of each students. So we have logs, and we can also access live logs at the same time. So yes, the MVLE is capable of doing that.
All right. Next, we go to our next question from RJ Nebla. Hello and good morning, Sir Wilben. Did you use Canvas as your online learning platform for MMSU VLE?
What we use is Moodle. So we only use Moodle. We started with Moodle 1.7 with our first version of MVLE. And right now, with our MVLE 2.0, we are using the Moodle 3.8.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next question, please. Sir, this is from Ms. Maria Cristina Bandarlipe. What are the common challenges or issues faced by learners in your VLE?
Well, basically, challenges for us in first in the administration of the virtual learning environment is we are hosting. So which means that it is here with us, and we are bound with electricity problems. So if there is a power outage within the university or within the building, so basically it would be offline. And of course, we are dependent also on our ISP or the internet service provider, which we are using in running or in deploying rather, the system. And in terms of access of these students, we have customized the MVLE that can be accessible for both mobile, laptop, and desktop. So what we can see as challenges for these students is only the access, the way they access or where they access the MVLE. It is more on connectivity issues. So these are the concerns that are being relayed to us in our ITC support. So most of them are also considering limiting the data allocation per lecture material. So that would be dependent now on the teachers and how they will be able to manage the production of these learning materials into smaller bites.
All right, thank you, sir. We have another question from Donet Macro Colleges. Hello, sir. Thank you for sharing. It was very informative. May I ask if you are maintaining your own servers for MVLE or do you outsource it?
We are maintaining our own servers. They are all located here in our center.
We still have another question from Peter Abranica. It is indeed a nice presentation, but I think it's not possible for all students. At present, we are already facing a problem on signals. How can we do about it, sir?
Right now, thank you for that question, Peter. Right now, really, we are facing that problem. That is very difficult to solve right now, but we are trying our best to communicate with our ISPs or to our telecom companies. So like, for example, Globe and Smart. So we are reaching them out on how we be able to deliver MVLE to our students. And also we have considered collaborating with the local government units where they will be able to implement some what we call learning centers that provides internet access to these students. Wherein these students will just go to their municipal library or a place wherein it is provided by the local government unit. So those are our initiatives and how we are able to cope up with the connectivity issues of our students.
Okay, sir. Sir, we have another question. It seems like our audience are really interested about how you did it in MMSU and how you're doing it at present. Sir, from Erlinda Pass, what can you suggest as an online learning platform for allied health courses?
Thank you, Ma'am Erlinda, for that question. So basically, our MVLE can cater all whatever profession or whatever domain. So I think it's up to you on how you will really select. As what I discussed, the things that you need to consider in selecting your virtual learning environment for implementation. So I suggest, based on experience, Moodle with our MVLE can do everything as regards teaching and learning process.
Okay, sir. Sir, from Mr. Rudolph Tan, how much investment did MMSU place in the infrastructure, particularly in the university servers? I smiled because this is also my question, sir.
Yes, sir. Will I be giving figures? Okay.
You're,
First thing, we did it one at a time. We invested purchasing servers. So before we only used the desktop type servers previously, and then later we were able to purchase IBM servers, bigger ones. And in terms of internet connectivity, our first deployment was just a 14 Mbps na dedicated internet access. And right now we have upgraded it to up to 1000 Mbps. And of course, the infra within our university, since as you all know, those who already came to our university, the land area is huge and the buildings are scattered around the campus. So we connected these buildings with fiber. Of course, millions. We invest millions on just infra. But we are not paying for any subscription on the use of this virtual learning environment. So at least we minimize the cost because we only concentrated on the infrastructure. And we also have the talents or the manpower to do this. So that's good. That I think is the best practice in the university, that we have talents to do the administration and the implementation of these systems.
right, thank you, sir. Sir, we still have some more questions from Rafi Nulyar. Thank you very much, Director. Excellent presentation. The question is, how do you maintain confidentiality features of your MVLE?
Confidentiality in terms of course, personal information. We are bound with the Data Protection Act or the Data Privacy Act of 2012. So we are bound with that. And as regards physical setup with our data centers, so of course only authorized personnel can enter to our data centers. We also have an agreement with our programmers, confidentiality agreement with these programmers when we started hiring them. So there is a confidentiality agreement with them. Other than that, by securing also the what we call the data privacy policy of the university. So we are also bound with the data privacy policy of the university.
Thank you, sir. We have our next question from Ms. Lorna Tiangson Pulmones. Good AM, sir. How do we go about our students who don't have connectivity, especially on gadgets like laptops, desktop, or even mobile? It would be very difficult for them and the teachers as well. This is from Iloilo Region 6.
Okay. Again, thank you for the question. As I have said earlier, that we have initiated collaboration with the local government units where these students are residing. So these LGUs will be providing spaces for these students with computer or internet-enabled computers in that learning spaces for these students to go and have access to our virtual learning environment. And right now, the university is planning for a virtual learning hub, or we call it as a flexible learning center, where we will be putting up something like a learning common area for students where they can freely access the internet. They can also use the devices of the university in this area. So those are our initiatives right now. So hopefully, our collaborators, so just to specify, our collaborators here should be the local government unit. So the university cannot do this alone without the support of the local government unit where these students are residing. So I think that would be one of the solutions in terms of connectivity, and then in terms of acquisition of these gadgets and everything.
Okay, sir. Sir, we have a last question. But before I read the last question, because there are more questions being posted in our comment section,
Yes.
nonetheless, they can contact you based on the email you provided us a while ago. So
Yes.
this is the last question, sir, for this part. From Mr. Arthur Peter James. Questions. Based on your experience at MMSU, how long duration time for training faculty in the proper operation of your VLE equipment? Who will administer the training to faculty members?
Okay. So we also have a device training team, a team which the Department of Computer Science is, or from the Department of Computer Science. So they do the training. All our faculty members are trained to use the virtual learning environment. So they are now the ones facilitating the training, giving lectures to faculty. So with our previous training week or last week, we had 1 day session or the whole day session per faculty. So 1 day is enough. Pero that is just on the utilization or the use of the MVLE. We also have planned succeeding training programs that would help teachers in the preparation of learning materials that are or that can be uploaded in the virtual learning environment. So basically in the university, the Department of Computer Science in collaboration with the Information Technology Center take charge of the training of faculty members. So I think that would answer the question.
All right. Again, on behalf of all our audience in the country and later in the globe, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Sir Wilben for sharing the best practices of Mariano Marcos State University. Sir, agyaman kami unay. Thank you very much. And we hope after this pandemic, we hope to have maybe a seminar face-to-face with you on this matter. So thank you so much, Sir Wilben.
Thank you very much too, sir.
All right. Thank you po. All right. Before we have our break, may just would like to give some announcements, especially for those who are asking us about e-certificates. We would like to show you now our revised guidelines on how you can avail your e-certificates. Let me just read it first before we explain it to you. First, for you to have your e-certificate, it is very important that you attend the morning and afternoon webinar session. It's not enough that you just be in one of the sessions. You should complete the whole day. We will announce a feedback form and, of course, the quiz link after the last session for the day. So we still have our afternoon session later. You have to be present also. And after we post the link, you have to fill out the feedback form. Take the quiz seriously, please. Follow the instructions in the online survey on or before 6 o'clock this evening. No more extensions until 6 o'clock this evening only. Those, of course, because it's an online quiz, we will be giving a mark whether it's passed or failed. Those who passed or received a passing mark out of 6 questions, you should be able to answer 4 questions correctly. If you're able to answer 4 out of 6 questions, you will be sleeping soundly tonight because surely you will receive your e-certificates. For previous sessions, you can download your certificate at webinar.chedro1.com. That is webinar.chedro1.com. All right, reminder, our e-certificate is not just a soft copy certificate because we are implementing the Philippine National Public Key Infrastructure or PNPKI of DICT to secure the electronic certificate, which means that when a Dr. Galera, our OIC director, signs it, it's a digital signature, and the digital signature is equipped with a control number to avoid duplication and alteration. That means only those who really attended the sessions will get the actual official e-certificate from CHED Regional Office 1. So again, before we pause for a break, I again make this appeal to everybody. Please do not just answer a yes or no to our online survey or evaluation form. Please follow the instructions religiously, answer the questions properly for you to be able to secure your e-certificate. So that would be for our first part this morning. We shall declare a health break for how many minutes? For 2 minutes. We'll just go to our comfort rooms to freshen up for 2 minutes. And of course, after 2 minutes, we will be back for another learning session. Please be there. Please be there. Do not let these free webinars pass you by. So we will see you after 2 minutes. So enjoy your health break. Please, we provided another link for the next session. Please check our Facebook page for you to be able to get the link. We'll see you in 2 minutes.